Welcome to the Eric Thompson Show. Passionate conservative fighting to preserve our constitutional rights.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
A Marine Corps veteran and family man whose life's creed is faith, family, and country. Join Eric today as he covers current events from a conservative worldview. Now, here's your host, Eric Thompson.
Hey, welcome to another Eric Thompson Show. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm located out here on the left coast in California. It is November 1st, 2021. And on this podcast, we're going to go over a couple main stories that I think I'm sure you heard about, or you maybe are seeing a lot of tweets about, but we have the Virginia vote coming up tomorrow, and we do not have votes for the far left's agenda of the reconciliation bill they wanted to get through by now, as well as the infrastructure bill. So we have record number votes coming in Virginia already, and we don't have the votes coming in the House of Representatives. So thank you for sitting in on this. If you want to get a hold of me, you can always email me, Eric at ettalkshow.com. That's my website, ettalkshow.com. And say, hey, you should cover this. This is what I think. Or download my podcast. You can download the podcast there or anywhere that you get your podcast. Just look up Eric Thompson Show, and you should be able to get those from Apple or from... Man, I don't even know. They're everywhere. So Spotify, just Amazon. You can go over to Google Podcasts. Just look for Eric Thompson Show, and you should be okay. All right, I'm a political writer for a career, and so I really am immersed in what's going on. In about 24 hours from right now, it's late on the 1st, we're going to probably know who the next governor of Virginia is going to be. And until recently, it was kind of like, well, the Republican, he's trying, but the former Democratic governor, Terry McAuliffe, he's already been elected before. He's a Clinton buddy, and he's got a lot of money behind him. And yes, he's as radical as possible, but he's probably going to get, the Republican will try. But then McAuliffe really stuck his foot in his mouth because he really believes the things that are possibly going to cost him the election. Number one, he wants abortion up to the last second, but he also doesn't want parents to have a say on what the schools teach their children. He didn't really want to deal with or talk about the fact that because of the transgender boys wearing skirts and one of them raped two girls, well, we shouldn't really, go after the school board for that. Let's just kind of blow that one off too. So parents, just let me tax you and let us be the nanny state, and you just shut up. And all of a sudden, the people in the state are like, okay, you want to bring back in vaccine mandates, you want to shut things down, and you want to tell parents that they don't have a say in their children's lives to that degree? We don't want you. So going into the election, they're calling it tied, but I think really it's about a 2 to 3 point lead if you look at the Trafalgar Group and the people that are really good at polling. So if the Republican corporate guy, Glenn Youngkin, if he's able to get in, everything does a 180. No critical race theory being taught at schools. The Attorney General will probably be replaced too if he gets in. So then you'll have him being able to go after the school boards and the schools for hiding the rapes. But then he'll have the biggest tax cuts, and he'll have tax credits, and he'll have all these things to get the economy going and to help the everyday working person and to be big supporters of the military and the police. So I watched the closing rally tonight from Youngkin. Thousands of people were there, thousands of people watching online. It's a fairgrounds in northern Virginia's wealthy suburb of Loudoun County. It was packed, cars all over. And you have a feeling like they're feeling pretty good about the election. Biden had a big surge on election night like other states, so he ended up winning by like 10 or 13 points, but it was close, and all of a sudden here comes this massive data dump. But if Virginia, if the Virginia Commonwealth House and the governor and attorney, if it all flipped, if the state went back red, it would shock DC, and the left would just go unhinged. So keep an eye on that tomorrow. Now, one thing that concerns me about it, though, okay, I hate this early voting through the mail, no excuse needed. This new way of voting that the left is pushing. And this is why. Breitbart's reporting Virginia sees record early voting numbers ahead of the election tomorrow. Listen to the big jump here. This is where you can get people that moved in the state temporarily, got a place, got to request a ballot, get the votes in. You got people voting for dead family members, et cetera, et cetera. But Jordan Dixon Hamilton wrote this. Early voting numbers in Virginia's governor election closed with record highs in the contested race between McAuliffe and Glenn Youngkin, Republican candidate. Listen to this. In 2017, in the last gubernatorial election, 189,891 voters cast early ballots. How many do you think voted this year? Previously, 189,891. This year, 1,137,656 voted early. That's 1/5 of the state. That's what happened in Georgia. That's what happened in Arizona. That's what happened in Pennsylvania in 2020. The current governor, Ralph Northam, that evil guy that said even after a baby's born, the mom can decide if it should live or not. He signed legislation in April of 2020 during COVID that Virginians who wanted to vote early, it says Virginians, before 2020, Virginians who sought to vote early were required to have a valid reason to need an absentee ballot. Now there's no precursors for requesting it, and Virginians can vote 45 days out. So you don't have to have a reason. So you don't have to go down, someone look you in the face, look at your ID, go through the process. You can just sit there and send it in from home. So it's shot up over 1 million. I'm concerned that even though Youngkin should win, that there'll be enough fraud in these mail-in ballots that he'll lose. That's my guess. Hoping he wins. I know he's going to win on election day. But when these ballots start rolling in, these mail-in ballots, where the fraud is very, even the Democrats over the last 10, 15 years have said there's a lot of fraud potential in voting through electronic machines and mail-in ballots. That's where the fraud would take place. But those numbers, I don't like them as a conservative. 189,000 to 1.1 million in one cycle. But the polls are saying that if there isn't fraud, that Youngkin should win, which would stop critical race theory from being taught at the schools, would start to get the boys out of the bathrooms, girls' bathrooms, would start to establish funding the police and supporting the military, and it would be awesome. So that is a big story that's going to take place tomorrow. So a lot of votes there. Now, where there's not a lot of votes is the left has been trying in every way they can to get Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, the two more moderate Democrats, to sign on to an physical infrastructure bill that's already been approved by the Republicans, bridges, roads, infrastructure, and then a human infrastructure bill. And they said that should be $5 or $6 trillion, but we'll be realistic. Let's just do $3.5 trillion. And they Green New Deal and money, and just free abortions and free child care and free this and free that and free college and free. Oh, but in the meantime, we get rid of coal and go to zero emissions and stop ranchers from growing, from raising cattle and let's just totally destroy the economy. Well, Manchin's from West Virginia. And at first, Manchin was like, well, I'm a Democrat, so I want to be on the team, and we have to have all 50 of us if we're going to get this through, even though we're going to be the kind of weasels and go through the reconciliation process instead of going through the regular order. So, okay, but I don't want to spend more than $1.5 trillion. And they're like, well, it's $3.5 trillion. So then they did a test vote, and they're like, okay, well, Sinema, they followed her in the bathrooms and stalked her, and they went to the airport where she landed, and so they've been really hounding these two. But what happened is they went too far for Manchin now. He was trying to work with them. He was trying to go through, okay, I can kind of understand that, and I want to make sure that people are treated equal with voting, and I want to try to make sure we fix inequity. So I am a Democrat, a Reagan Democrat, a Clinton Democrat. So I do want to kind of work. I want to go along with fixing inequalities. But I don't really see the reason why we need $3.5 trillion when we can't pay for it. So what Biden and Schumer say? Oh, and Pelosi, it's paid for 100%. Well, how? Tax. He's like, well, that's not going to work. Can't tax in the midst of inflation that's out of control. And the tax revenue would drop because the wealthy people would stop investing. So let's keep talking about it. Well, the left they're angrier and angrier, and they try to say, President Biden is going overseas, so we got to get it done before he leaves. We got to get it done. So he tried, and they met, and they tried, and Biden had him and Sinema over to the White House, and they tried, and they couldn't get it done. So then they tried to play a game, and when we get back from the break, when we get back, I'm going to explain to you how they overstepped, and they may have now taken Manchin out of the agreement. So I'll play a little bit of what Joe said, but he's basically saying, I'm not going to support even 1.75 now. Matter of fact, I don't even like the way you guys are treating me. I don't like the way you're treating this process. I love it. I love it as a Republican, but I'm also going to cover one of the far left ladies is, what's she going to call him now? A racist. I'll cover all that when I get back. Thank you again for joining me. My name is Eric Thompson. This is the Eric Thompson Show podcast. Website again is ET Talk Show. My two sponsors, MyPillow.com and FreedomPhone.com. MyPillow.com, save up to 66%. Use the promo code ETTalk at checkout. freedomphone.com. Use the promo code SAVE to save $50. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep
Again, at checkout, use the promo code ETTALK, ETTALK at checkout.
Name one time in history where the people who banned books, media, and opinions were the good guys. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm the world's youngest Bitcoin millionaire. I made it in Silicon Valley, and I've accomplished a lot in my life already. But now, I'm leaving big tech to fight for free speech. Because the big tech overlords are violating your privacy, censoring your speech, and I think that's so wrong. That's why I created the Freedom Phone and its uncensorable app store. Everyone is complaining about big tech censorship, but no one is doing anything about it. They say, build your own phone. So I did. Freedom Phone truly is the best phone in the world. It does everything your current phone does, except censor you and spy on you. With the Freedom Phone, your freedom of speech is our #1 priority. That's why we built our own app store that is completely uncensored. If an app you love has been banned from the mainstream app stores, you can still download it on ours because we don't ban apps, period. And we've developed the first operating system based on your free speech. There's no app tracking, no keyboard tracking, and no location tracking because I believe in your security. How do we ensure you're being protected? Say hello to Trust. Trust is our privacy guard. It's designed to warn you whenever an app or a website is tracking you and gives you the option to stop it. Your data, your rules. That's our motto. The Freedom Phone is comparable to the best smartphones on the market. It has an edge-to-edge screen, a super fast processor, and multiple cameras. And your SIM card transfers into the Freedom Phone seamlessly. Big tech companies hold a monopoly on public communication and the dissemination of information, and they are abusing that power. Nobody elected Mark or Jack to be the arbiters of truth in America, yet they still thought it was okay to ban a sitting president from their platforms. If they censor a president, they will censor anyone. Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg censored MLK or Abraham Lincoln. The course of history would have been altered forever. Out of all the constitutional amendments, there's a reason why the Founding Fathers made the right to free speech the very first. I believe you have a voice that deserves to be heard without being censored. Protect yourself from big tech censorship. Let your voice be heard. Live free with the Freedom Phone.
Again, use the promo code SAVE at checkout, freedomphone.com, promo code SAVE to save you $50, freedomphone.com. All right, thank you again for staying with me. This is Eric Thompson, and we're heading now, second part here of the podcast. We're going to be talking about the reaction to Joe Manchin and Sinema not coming on board still. Like the left, they just can't take it because it wasn't supposed to go this way. It was supposed to be, we've got 50 votes and everyone's on board, and we're going to fix all the world's problems, and we're going to make sure that there is just open spending and investments, they call them, and we're going to tear down buildings and build new buildings with no windows, and we're going to pushed through everything we've ever wanted all in one swoop. The Manchins didn't like it because here's what happened. Is that they thought, well, Manchin's not going to vote for $3.5 trillion, so here's a game we can play. Instead of having like all of these really popular programs that we're going to put in, like the free preschool, 3-4-year-olds, instead of going out 10 years so it can be properly analyzed for cost, we're just going to stop it at 4 years. Even though it'll go all 10, but for our magic total ticket price, we're only going to show 4 years of the 10. And I'll get you in a second what happens after year 4. Okay, we should have some free college, and we should have the COVID free medical extended, but instead of having all these programs out 10 years, let's bring them all back to 2, 3, 4, 6, and then we get it down to 1.75. See, Joe didn't like that because it's a game. And he's like, I'm not going to go for this. So here's a quick little soundbite of Manchin came out today. This is from ABC's Twitter page, but he wanted to explain real quick where he's at on the reconciliation package.
Throughout the last 3 months, I've been straightforward about my concerns that I will not support a reconciliation package that expands social programs and irresponsibly adds to our $29 trillion in national debt that no one seems to really care about or even talk about. Nor will I support a package that risks hurting American families suffering from historic inflation. Simply put, I will not support a bill that is this consequential without thoroughly understanding the impact that it'll have on our national debt, our economy, and most importantly, all of our American people. Every elected representative needs to know what they are voting for and the impact it has, not only on their constituents, but the entire country.
So there you go. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Hey, I'm not going to support a bunch of spending just for the sake of spending, and I'm not going to destroy the economy in West Virginia where he's from, because part of the Green New Deal would be to kill the coal industry in West Virginia, and then all of his constituents could blame him because he would kill the whole coal industry. And then he's like, he continued, well, wait a minute. And this idea of playing shell games and saying, well, I know it's a 10-year spending, but now you want to say it's a 3 year. So I see what you're doing. And I'm not even going to vote for the 1.75. They need his vote. They cannot do without him in cinema. And the way they want to get around it is to say, well, we're going to sign off on 1.75. And then when the next Congress comes in and some of these really awesome spending programs, when they're going to no longer be authorized, they have the option to just go ahead and continue them. And Manchin's like, well, then we end up back at $3.5 trillion over 10 years, so I'm not doing it. So the left is furious. Cori Bush is a Democratic House member from Missouri, and she's not good people. Angry, mean, just frowning all the time and just a scowl on her face. So guess what she had to say about Manchin wanting to take time to read the bill, to know what's in it, and that everyone in the Senate and the House should do that for the country as well as their constituents. She said in a statement Monday that Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat, West Virginia's concerns about the $1.75 trillion Build Back Better program. His concerns are anti-black, anti-child, anti-woman, anti-immigrant. There is the real reason, according to her. Manchin said this is a recipe for economic crisis. So I want to hold off. She says she doesn't trust Manchin's beliefs in what America needs. In a mammoth bill back, quote, I trust the scientists who have shown us what our future will look like if we fail to meaningfully address the climate crisis. I trust the patients and the doctors crying out for comprehensive health coverage for every person in America. She continued, when I promised St. Louis a historic investment in children and our seniors, our housing, our schools, I said that I would do everything I can to actually deliver change to our community that we can feel. Joe Manchin's opposition to the Build Back Better Act is an anti-black, anti-child, anti-woman, anti-immigrant. When we talk about a transformative change, we're talking about a bill that would benefit black, brown, indigenous communities. Those same communities are overwhelmingly excluded from the bipartisan infrastructure bill. We cannot leave anyone behind. Senator Manchin must support the Build Back Better Act, she said. There you go. So now what, right? Well, I guess it's stalled. Well, here is how the left works. So here's another one of the far lefties. Progressive Caucus Chairwoman Representative Pramila Jayapal, Democrat, Washington. She said today, on Monday, on Andrea Mitchell Reports, that President Biden has assured her he has all the votes, including Manchin and Sinema. Well, hold on a second. That's a lie. Manchin just came out and said, I don't like the games, and I want us to read it, and I want to slow down. Mitchell said, you've endorsed the White House framework last week, you as a group. Are you confident that those two senators will be for it? Because they have been less than definitive in where they stand so far publicly. I don't think so. I just heard Manchin. She said, J. Paul said, quote, we did endorse the framework. And in fact, we also had a very, very good meeting yesterday at the full CPC after the text was released, which was something that we had been asking for the Build Back Better Act. I'm very happy to say we are now awaiting negotiations amongst senators on prescription drug pricing, child care, and some details on immigration. But the Progressive Caucus, assuming good resolution on those issues from the Senate side, we will be excited to vote for both bills. That's a lie, but that's what the left does. Well, no. Everybody don't get freaked out. I got Manchin on board. Now, Joe, as you probably have heard or seen, Joe fell asleep again. Joe's a disaster over at the. He's running around Italy, the G20. He's like, oh well, I'm tired, so I'm going to rest my eyes. I'm going to take a nap. Joe apologized to the globalists for Trump pulling out of the Paris Accord. I'm sorry. Biden said that, speaking at the G20, that I'm going to double down. Actually, he went over to the United Nations Climate Change Conference. He went to Scotland, so he did both. So leaving the G20, went over to Scotland, United Nations Climate Change Conference, which when he was waiting for his turn to speak, he got caught snoozing. He fell asleep early Monday. And then an NBC reporter had to come over and wake him up because he can't stay awake. But Joe said this when it was his time to speak, when they woke him up. Quote, as we see currently a volatility in energy prices, rather than cast it in as a reason to back off our clean energy goals, we must view it as a call to action, unquote. And then Biden continued, quote, high energy prices they only reinforce the urgent need to diversify sources, double down on clean energy development. How do you like that, guys? You ready to pay $6 in gas? $7 in gas? $8 in gas? Because Joe says, hey, I was snoozing because this is boring and I'm old and I'm losing it, and thanks for waking me up, and now I'm speaking. So yes, energy costs are crazy, but that shouldn't get us to back down when the people are angry at us and they can't afford them. We need to go more cost, more. So that's how Monday finishes up here. Biden's over there apologizing for America to G20, goes over to the United Nations climate change, promising this, cutting this, but China was nowhere to be found because they're not going to stop adding coal-burning power plants, including the Earth. But Biden's running around, yes, we'll pay for this, and then he's like, well, and I don't, okay, and we're going to keep forcing up cost on my citizens because, darn it, they need to understand how serious we are. While Biden's playing games, saying, yeah, I've got the votes. Manchin says, no, cinema's nowhere to be found. And tomorrow, we're going to find out if the elections are fair in Virginia, I believe, because I believe that Republican candidate Glenn Youngkin should win. But I'm concerned that the 1.137 million mail-in ballots, up from 189,000, there's going to be fraud in those. So we will find out. So hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully we have good news tomorrow when I do the podcast, though. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later.
We hope you were encouraged today. Make sure to check out Eric's website for articles, podcasts, and a daily show schedule at www.ettalkshow.com, and connect with MAGA supporters on Eric's social media platform, www.magabook.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
And save up to 66%. Use the promo code ETTalk, ETTalk at checkout.
Name one time in history where the people who banned books, media, and opinions were the good guys. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm the world's youngest Bitcoin millionaire. I made it in Silicon Valley, and I've accomplished a lot in my life already. But now, I'm leaving big tech to fight for free speech. Because the big tech overlords are violating your privacy, censoring your speech, and I think that's so wrong. That's why I created the Freedom Phone and its uncensorable app store. Everyone is complaining about big tech censorship, but no one is doing anything about it. They say, build your own phone. So I did. Freedom Phone truly is the best phone in the world. It does everything your current phone does, except censor you and spy on you. With the Freedom Phone, your freedom of speech is our #1 priority. That's why we built our own app store that is completely uncensored. If an app you love has been banned from the mainstream app stores, you can still download it on ours because we don't ban apps, period. And we've developed the first operating system based on your free speech. There's no app tracking, no keyboard tracking, and no location tracking because I believe in your security. How do we ensure you're being protected? Say hello to Trust. Trust is our privacy guard. It's designed to warn you whenever an app or a website is tracking you and gives you the option to stop it. Your data, your rules. That's our motto. The Freedom Phone is comparable to the best smartphones on the market. It has an edge-to-edge screen, a super fast processor, and multiple cameras. And your SIM card transfers into the Freedom Phone seamlessly. Big tech companies hold a monopoly on public communication and the dissemination of information, and they are abusing that power. Nobody elected Mark or Jack to be the arbiters of truth in America, yet they still thought it was okay to ban a sitting president from their platforms. If they censor a president, they will censor anyone. Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg censored MLK or Abraham Lincoln. The course of history would have been altered forever. Out of all the constitutional amendments, there's a reason why the Founding Fathers made the right to free speech the very first. I believe you have a voice that deserves to be heard without being censored. Protect yourself from big tech censorship. Let your voice be heard. Live free with the Freedom Phone.
And use the promo code SAVE at checkout. Save $50. Use the promo code SAVE. FreedomPhone.com.